Let's talk about possibility. I was thinking about possibility this morning and noticing that there's there's a part of me that thinks things are possible. In fact, that thinks amazing things are possible. And then there's another part of me, like many people, that's very skeptical and thinks that things aren't possible and things won't work out. So I wanted to talk about how to navigate that. I think it's impractical to try to ignore the part of us that doesn't think that things are possible, because it's there. So we may as well respond to it. Well, I don't want to presume that it's there for you, but certainly in my experience, and I hear a lot of people, I think one thing that can be useful is just noticing when these two sides sort of come up, and notice that they're both kind of a state. You know, when I'm in one state, I'm likely to notice what won't go well, what isn't possible, what problems can emerge with something. And so I'm really problem focused, and I'm really good at finding out what's wrong with something and why things won't work. And when I'm in that state of mind, that's probably not a great time for me to do visioning work or planning or goal setting. Um, and it's almost that as soon as a goal occurs to me, immediately I'm like, well, this won't work or this won't work. So that's fine. And one thing you can do in that moment that's useful is jot down all those reasons. It's good to have a collection and even see what are their sort of standard reasons that you come up with, reasons or considerations for why things can't go a particular way for you. It's good to have your collection, get familiar with it, know how to address them. So this is sort of the problem-focused troubleshooting state of mind. Now let's talk about possibility and creating an atmosphere of possibility. I think we all have times when new things seem possible, and where you get an idea and you're like, well, what if that was possible? That would be really cool. That would be interesting. And there's some ideas that occur to me that I just think they're so cool that I don't even care if they can actually work. I just want to explore them because they're interesting, or they're dynamic, or they generate energy and excitement for me. So this is a very different state of mind than the sort of problem-focused state of mind. This is, and there's a different series of questions. It's what can I explore here? What can I discover? What's possible? What would be interesting? What would be cool? And for me, this state of mind tends to come when I'm out taking a walk, when I'm at a museum. It may be different for you. For me, when I'm out in nature, ideas occur to me and things seem possible. Also, they say nothing breeds success like success. And I think that really speaks to this, that when I'm coming off of achieving one goal, or even just a little task that I set for myself, I feel like, wow, things are working, things are looking up. And I think, well, what if this little thing was possible, what next little step would be possible, or what big thing could be possible? What if all of this really multiplied over time? What could I achieve? One cool thing you can do with this is, catch yourself when you're in either state of mind. And I would recommend having different physical spaces for these. I mentioned that for me, when I'm out on a walk, that's a great time for me to vision. Or if I go to a really great performance or something, I'll get inspired. I'll think, wow, they're cool things, and I'll get a lot of ideas. Ideas flow really easily. So that's one sort of space, and that's where I go to vision and to create new ideas to explore and research. And then I think it's good to sort of localize your problem your problem and troubleshooting state of mind, or you're pessimistic, and really identifying what's problematic here, what won't work, and all the things that could go wrong, and even sort of the emotional baggage. Sometimes things don't seem possible because we're in a really down state, or maybe something didn't work out for us, and that can sort of snowball, and it's like, oh, nothing will ever work out. That's fine. Honor it, put it in one location. Maybe you can have a part of your house or apartment where you go to just put all those ideas, all the things that don't work out, so that it's localized. And then a cool thing to do is, once it's localized, once you've sort of anchored it to a space, I would recommend walking really far away from it and looking at it from a distance. And sometimes you'll get new insights into all those challenges, all those things that seem insurmountable when seen from a distance might seem more possible. So localizing these things, like create a space for possibility, or a series of spaces, or perhaps it's activities. I mentioned walking, maybe it's playing sports or going to a performance, whatever it is that kind of snaps you into that state of mind where things are possible. Also, another time that ideas really occur to me is when I see something new in the world. Even if I see like a new phone or something that comes out, I'm like, wow, that's really cool. I wonder what else you could develop. So in addition to creating different spaces for each of these, I'll mention again that it's interesting to notice what questions you're asking yourself when you're in that atmosphere of possibility versus when you're in an atmosphere of nothing is possible and nothing will ever work out for all time. So in the atmosphere of possibility, I ask myself questions like, what could be possible? What could this be or turn into? What's available? What can I discover here? What can I learn here? What would be really cool to explore? So those are some of the questions. They're very open-ended. They're questions that are expansive, that really kind of stoke or fan the flames of curiosity and optimism and just playfulness. Like, wow, this would be really fun. What would, why not give it a shot and see what happens? And then on the side where things aren't possible, I'm noticing, or I'm asking questions like, what could go wrong? Why won't this work? What in particular won't work? Very often my mind might be bringing up examples of other times that things didn't work. So again, I recommend separating these. And once you have kind of a rich kind of space, or emotional space and physical space for possibility, and a rich space for where things aren't possible, I recommend doing your goal setting, your visioning, your planning in that space of possibility. And then you can always come back and check what won't go right, and move back and forth between them. I will say that there's a process in NLP that is very much akin to this, which is called the Disney process. And what they found was Disney actually had 3 spaces when he was working on something. He had something similar to what I'm calling the space, or the space of possibility. And that was the dreamer. That's where he would come up with ideas. And then he had a sort of a working space that was the realist, and the realist would create plans and would sort of project manage the idea and generate schedules and how something would be executed. And then he had the coach, or the critic, or the spoiler, which is what I'm calling the nothing will work out space. So these kind of work a bit in parallel. Something else that you can explore on the side is the Disney model, and maybe I'll do a separate talk on that. The main point I wanted to make today is that both this atmosphere of possibility or of problems are very much states that we go into. And that as you go into this state of possibility, you'll start to notice more things seem possible, and you'll notice more opportunities. Whereas when you're in the state where you're noticing problems, you could think of the littlest thing and it won't seem possible. You can find reasons why it won't happen. So I hope you enjoy moving back and forth, and I'm curious to hear what becomes possible for you as you do this.